Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Katelyn, and today we are continuing our Inktober episodes, and I'm finally catching up, and it feels great. It's great to be back to drawing and making videos and all that, so I'm glad to be back on the horse. But today, we're gonna be talking about a comment from one of my Patreon contributors, Nex Marok. I'm sorry if I butchered your username, but they asked a lot of really great topics, and one of them that I wanna touch on, because some of the other ones we've already talked about, is handling professional jealousy and comparing oneself to other artists. So this one is a little tough because it's kind of in human nature to just compare yourself to others. It's just a thing, and it's really hard to get over. I mean, I think artists do it a lot, and it's kind of a little bit more noticeable with artists, but I mean, every profession does it. Like if you think about, oh man, like a musician is like, oh gosh, I wish I could play the drums as well as this musician, or some professional in a business is like, man, I wish my business was as booming as theirs. Like you could own a coffee shop and be like, God damn it, Starbucks, you're doing so much better than me. Like, why can't I be that, you know? It just happens. There's professional jealousy and comparing yourself to others just in human nature. It's just something that we do. But specifically for artists, it can be very, very detrimental. And I've experienced it a lot throughout my artistic career. It's just, it can be a really toxic thing to do to yourself. So to further elaborate on it, I'll do like a personal example. So when I compare myself to other artists, it's usually puts me in a really bad state because I think to myself, man, they're amazing. I'm never gonna reach that. I'm not even close to that. My art looks nothing like it. And I just get into this terrible whirlwind swirl in my head of just, you're not good enough. You're never gonna be that good. Look how great they are. Look, they're your age and they're already in a career they want. They're half your age and they draw even better than you. All of this stuff, it's really hard to get out of that funk once you get in it. And you know, it really sucks. It really does. And it's not something you can easily just, you know, deflect and keep out of your mind. It happens, and it really sucks. And there's a couple things you can do to try to help yourself to get out of that or to avoid it. And that's what's been helping me, but you know, it doesn't always work. So I'm just gonna preface it with that there is, you know, you can try your hardest to keep yourself from comparing yourself to others, but it's gonna happen. Like I still fall into it all the time. Just between careers and artistic styles and artistic ability, I fall into it constantly. But you just need to make sure to get yourself out of it as quickly as possible. So one way that I try to avoid comparing myself to others is thinking to myself, you know, I'm looking at this amazing ideal piece of an artist that I follow. It's amazing, it has perfect anatomy, perfect colors, whatever it is that I like about it. The thing to keep in mind is there's probably 10,000 bad drawings behind that. There's so many bad drawings that every artist makes to make that one good drawing. And then you're thinking to yourself, well, Katelyn, I look through their Instagram and their Tumblr and everything they make is amazing. But you don't know that. Probably most of the things they post online are their best pieces. They're not always gonna show you their bad pieces or the practice that led up to being able to do that. Not every artist publicizes it for obvious reasons. It's kind of like if you drew a really bad drawing, let's say it was terrible to your standards, you're like, this is awful, I hate it, it's not even close to what I can do. Would you publish it online? You probably wouldn't. You would just be like, you know, we're gonna put this away and we're gonna do a new one. And then you'd publish the good one. So that's one thing to keep in mind when comparing yourself to other artists is you need to see how long they've been in this career and how many drawings they have behind them, because they just might be further along than you are just based off of the experience and the practice they've had. And like I said, the 10,000 bad drawings behind every one good drawing. The second thing I keep in mind, which I think I saw this in a Mary Doodles vlog, and when I find it, I'll put it in the description. But she talks about, you know, the only person that it's fair to compare yourself to is yourself. because you're the only one who draws like you do. You're the only one who's going to be able to produce the work that you do. And that's it. You have to compare yourself to yourself. So one way that helps me kind of pull myself out of the weird funk of like, oh man, I'll never be as good as this artist, is kind of going back and looking at my old work. I go back a year, 2 years, even longer, like maybe back into high school. And I look at my work and I'm like, wow, look how much I've improved over the years. If you compare yourself to yourself, you see how much you've grown and how much you've changed as an artist just in that small or long amount of time. And that helps a lot because you're like, you know, I want to reach the level of this idol artist of mine. Like, I want to look like this. I want to make stuff like this. And you have to think, I can get there. It's just gonna take me some time. As I can see, here's a high school drawing I did, but here I am now. Like, look how much better I've become in just these few years. You have to keep that in mind because it just takes time, dedication, and practice to get to whatever skill level you want. And it's just gonna take that same amount to get to the new skill level. And then another thing that helps me a lot with comparing myself to artists is kind of finding what I like about that artist and trying to, I guess, emulate what they do that I like in my own artwork. For example, I talked about her in another Inktober a couple weeks ago, where there's an artist online called Dye Me Like a Sunset, and I absolutely love how they draw their body proportions, their humans, just all of that. And I have been pushing myself to try to get better at that. That doesn't mean I copy her artwork. You don't do that. Don't go and find your ideal artist and literally copy what they're drawing, but kind of look at their art and think, you know, why do I like this so much? What is making me so drawn to their work that I want to basically be them? Like, what are those couple key factors that make their art so appealing? So for theirs in particular, I just love how they draw the bodies and the proportions and how much life and girth and like just, I guess, weight to their characters there is. You can just really feel the muscles on their bodies or the rolls of fat or the hair, how it falls. It's just all really amazing, and I feel their characters are just so lifelike and just have so much life behind every pose, every look, every facial expression. And that's something that I want to emulate within my characters. So I thought to myself, you know, how can I get my art to be like that? So what I started doing was practicing human anatomy. I went back and started drawing different body figures and shapes that I don't draw very often. Like maybe a more overweight character or a very thin character or a very muscular character, like trying all these different things that I love in their art to practice and get better at mine. And same with like expressions. Their expressions that they draw on the characters are just so full of life and emotion that I really wanted to get that. And I noticed it was mostly in the eyes. Like, I speak volumes with characters, and just even in real life. Like, the eyes are the gateway to the soul, as they say, and it's the same when you draw. So after seeing that I was just so attracted to the eyes and facial expressions, I started really practicing different eyes and different looks and different expressions, and that has helped a lot. I haven't reached what I wanted yet, but I'm getting closer. I'm slowly seeing little bits of my art improving and getting closer to the ideal look that I want just by practicing and dissecting my idol's artist's work and seeing what I want to make my art look better with. So I mean, those are a couple ways that help me to, I guess, avoid falling into the trap of it. And if I do get in it, they also help pull me out. But honestly, it's really hard to not compare yourself to artists. It's just something that's gonna happen. I don't have a set way to say, you know, you don't do it. There's not like a set way to do that. You just have to figure out what works for you to help yourself not compare yourself to artists. What also helps me is just thinking, you know, I'm where I am right now in my art skills and in my career. This is where I am, this is how I am, and I want to get better. Like, I want to succeed and I want to be a better, more talented, I guess, artist, like being able to capture something as well as my idol artist. Like, I want to be able to do that. But where I am right now is where I am. And by telling myself that, it helps a lot for me. And just thinking, you know, when this idol artist started or when they were producing work at the beginning, they might have not been at this skill level. I mean, every artist out there started somewhere. They started with basic stick figures or random little drawings as a kid. They weren't born into like amazing artistic skill. They practiced and they refined their craft to be able to get to that. And so that means you can do the same. If you sit down and practice and really push yourself in the things that you want to improve on, you will improve and get to that level that you really want to see in your art. And that's what helps me the most, just thinking, you know, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna be the artist I wanna be. And it just takes time and it just takes practice. And another really quick side note is you might be idolizing that artist, but think about there's other artists that probably are idolizing you or people that look up to you in terms of your artistic skill and ability. Like for me, it's a little bit more obvious now that I have this YouTube channel, you know, people commenting and giving me really great feedback about my work. I'm like, wow, I'm influencing so many artists to be their best and to keep drawing and keep creating, and that's awesome. So that's another thing you should keep in mind. Yes, you have your idols, but don't drag yourself down thinking I gotta be there, because someone else is probably also looking up to you for inspiration and for seeing the dedication you have for art to keep them going. So just keep that in mind. I hope these helped, guys. It's really hard. I totally understand the struggle. Comparing yourself to artists and other amazing creators is really tough. It happens all the time. So just try to pick yourself out of that funk. Think to yourself, you know, they have so many drawings behind them and they are where they're at because of their dedication and practice. So thanks again, guys, for stopping by and checking out this video. And if you aren't already, you can go and hit that subscribe button. I have new videos every week. And if you have any other topics or questions you want me to cover during Inktober, please go ahead and leave them down in the comments below. So thanks again, guys, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.